The financial markets are driven by sentiment, and at this moment as I speak, there are global jitters over what a bank run in America means for the global financial system. Now, such is the scale of market panic that $465 billion of market capitalization has been wiped off in a span of just 2 days. It's been nothing short of a bloodbath at the markets, and investors from New York to Tokyo are cutting their exposure. But in this global gloom and doom, there is one bright spot that has in fact stood out for everyone's surprise, and it is the Indian banking system that seems to have weathered this crisis way better than the banking systems of the West. There's been some impact, the market sentiment is down, but by and large, the fact remains that Indian banks have remained largely insulated to the financial contagion that has started from America. Sparked by the bank runs at the Silicon Valley and the Signature Bank in the United States. So how is it that Indian banks have remained largely immune and insulated to this? Now, to begin with, the Indian banks inherently have a conservative approach to lending. So they are very well secured in terms of the lending ratios. Apart from this, India also has a very robust regulatory framework that's been put in place by the Reserve Bank of India. Even big private players in India are monitored carefully by the central bank. Equally important is the fact that the Indian banks do not depend much on Western economies or their financial services industries. Indian bank borrowings from outside of India are said to be just about 4 to 5% of their total balance sheets. And about 90% of their lending, this is crucial, the 90% of Indian banks' lendings is also to Indian borrowers. Therefore, when customers default in the West, the Indian banks are not badly affected. But in the United States, though, the bad news has not ended with the Silicon Valley Bank and the Signature Bank. The ratings agency Moody's has now placed 6 more American banks on a review for a downgrade. Now, this includes the First Republic, Western Alliance Bancorp, Intrust Financial Corp, now UMB Financial Corp, Zions Bancorp, and Comerica. The European banks are also feeling the pinch, where Switzerland's second largest bank, Credit Suisse, which had been in trouble since 2021, saw its shares sink by nearly about 14.3% this week. The Germany's Commerce Bank is down by 12%, while Spain's Santander has shed almost about 7.4% of its market value. The dramatic failure of the Silicon Bank has shattered the confidence of the startup industry as well. Many experts are now predicting that we could now witness a decade of startup winter. The American startup space, which grew by leaps and bounds in the last decade, will now find it hard to raise capital. Now, getting investment for a new business will not be easy. Inflation, poor regulation, and greed was at the heart of the bank runs that were witnessed in America in the last week. But the crisis is far from over, which is why political leaders in America are in a bit of a tizzy to try and reassure the American banking system is safe. But how convinced are the American consumers?
From customers of Signature Bank, particularly those who had uninsured deposits, to know that they would be protected. So that's what the president reinforced a short time ago. And we want to make sure everyone knows the bank branches are open today. This was even an area that could have been in doubt over the weekend if, again, we were not successful in persuading the federal government to include Signature and all of its customers in its protection. So the banks are open. Everything is fine, calm.
But staying calm when your deposits are in fact stuck in the bank that has just witnessed a bank run is not easy. The collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank and the Signature Bank has been compared to the Bear Stearns moment from 2008. No one wants to end up losing their life savings. The immediate future for some of the American banks and also the startup space at this moment looks very choppy. Inflation in America and indeed in the rest of the world is not going to come off the boil. And it will, of course, not ease things for the banks and businesses as they operate in a very financially unpredictable moment. Because remember, when banks fail, it is the common people who ultimately end up paying the price with their life savings. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.